Good morning.
Hello, 2 seconds. Let me just get you on my correct output. Hello.
Here we go.
There we go.
We got some crazy double voices and stuff. I think so.
I hope no. No, we shouldn't.
You know that bloody girl, the Lofi girl.
Say that again.
Like that, you know that Lofi girl.
Oh yeah.
Completely useless because they are just full of copyright claims.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's like I didn't use it again because basically I think they are just cleaning somebody else's music. If you look at our YouTube thing, it's always whenever I stream that girl, it's always a copyright claim.
Oh. To be honest, there's some weird stuff because like there's like loads of different channels that do it, and I always just feel like they just stream each other's music. I'm just like,
Yeah, no, but I think they are because the copyright claim in YouTube is well in general is pretty weird. Basically, they they have they stream somebody else's music, and
hello.
no, I think I need to meet mine twice. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and no, I was saying like they stream somebody else's music and they are the one that they claim copyright. If you are because the YouTube algorithm just grabs the latest, grabs the sample and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's uh, I'm pretty pissed off by that because oh yeah, you can use your music for your streaming, blah blah blah. So
Liars. um. Yeah, I've got to show off in a bit because I'm actually traveling back home. Um, but then because today was my last day of isolation, so I'm finally a free person. um, but before I do shoot off, I was like, yeah, I was just so basically I'd been tweaking. So I was like, okay, let's see if I could tweak what I had. And I was watching that video back, and there was just like they were throwing out this like spring interpolate and all these different interpolates. You're right, Leonard. How are you, by the way, bro? Um, and yeah, so they're doing a lot of interpolations, and what they were doing that I hadn't done is the one I watched didn't do is basically they took the current offset and a target offset, and then whenever they would set the bone rotation, they would interpolate between what it currently was and then the target offset. Whereas what I was doing is you'd get the target offset, and then you just like go to the new that would become the target, and then I'd do like alert from the control bone to that point. And it just wasn't as smooth as the spring interpolate, because it's sort of like it pulls you down, and like it's just, yeah, it's a bit more, it's way smoother. So the adding the spring interpolate and the current and target offsets was so much better. And then the way I did I'll show you it actually. I'll go. It's quite pretty. It's very long though. I won't be honest with you. Just to set up locomotion IK, it's a lot of work. But yeah, rather than, I was basically before as well, I made a load of bones and they were just making a load of controls instead, which makes more sense. Because these are a load of control points. Even though, but I do also have IK bones. One thing I did differently that they did weird is that they set the root, which is I think this. Yeah. They set the IK bone root. So I set the root of the IK bones to this point here, to the pelvis. And so that the legs and all that come from the pelvis. They did it differently, where they set it from here, the root as the root, and the legs come out from that. And I was like, that doesn't look right to me. So I, I was like, if regard to our IK, the root we always classify as the pelvis. So why are we setting the location to the root? So I did it my way. It worked out fine. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, you basically, same as before, still do that trace to the left foot, trace to the right foot. In the trace, however, now, two different things. This all stays the same, nothing changes here. In terms of the trace, we did fine. Another thing they did that was quite clever is I had the radius really high. They had a fairly low radius, so that it's almost like a line trace rather than a big sphere tracing around. So you don't collide with like weird or random points, which is actually a lot better. Yeah, so that there was that, and then here, which is the interesting bit they did, when they were calculating basically where the foot touches the ground. So this was what we used to rotate the foot. They interpolated the surface normal, which is what I wasn't doing before, and this gets rid of that snappy motion, because now the new hit normal for where the foot trace is interpolated from the current one, which is like just whatever the previous normal was, to the new one. So now we interpolate that with stiffness and whatnot, so it doesn't snap between it really quickly. In a sense, like it actually looks like your foot is bending as it should. But I'll show you when we do it. What else was new changes? Same thing here again. Again here we interpolate again when we set the pelvis location. Before I had an alert here, an accumulative alert, but this works smoother. And yeah, the way they explained it as well, it's like it works like a spring, that it kind of like, it's like slows down at, like it, when it's far away it goes really quickly and then slows down as it's about to get to the point. So if it's very far away where we need to move, it moves quicker, but if it's super close, it's a lot slower movement. And that way again, like you don't get any jerky moves. So like if the pelvis just needs to move 1 centimeter down, or however, it would like, that shouldn't be snappy. Like it'll just be nice and gradual, so it doesn't look as jerky. But if it needs to move a big distance, it'll move a lot quicker because it's more of a drop. Which is quite, yeah, that works out quite nicely. So that's why I added that there. Yeah, this is one thing. Initially, I didn't understand it. I was seeing loads of stories and they were doing it, but then I kind of think I got it now. I think this literally, it like rotates the transformation of the bone relative to like the direction in which the offset of the pelvis is. So yeah, but these are necessary steps. I need to look. They explained it again. I need to go back over why I did this. But from what it seems, the only thing I'm confused about is this inverse bit. But yeah, this is rotating. Rotating the vector basically. The transform, sorry, with by this direction of the offset z. What else? Then yeah, here of this offset bit. So this is what changed as well. Before I didn't even I had a function, but it was yeah. If we're going before, it was didn't have this interpolate here either. We just like the new pelvis offset, and then we offset it there. We did the same thing where we have to basically anytime you take a new transformation to the bone, you have to put it into the space in which you're doing it for. So there, whenever we do the foot, so we apply that translation of the pelvis, we do the offset in the. We have to do this inverse and transform direction to put it in the space of the IK foot, and then we do that offset there for the foot. And then this is and in this case, when we now adjust the pelvis, we take into account like how far the foot. When we adjust the foot, we take into account how far we move the pelvis. So and then we interpolate between the two, so that the foot moves up and down smoother. And then here, the rotate foot, they did it differently again. Not too, actually, pretty similarly actually, but because they use the interpolate normal as the target, it's a lot smoother. That's pretty much that. That's the only real difference. They just use the interpolate normal. That's what. Oh yeah, and when they set the rotation, they multiplied that by the actual bone position before doing it. And then yeah, that's pretty much the only difference in that when we're calculating the foot offset. And you can see here now we take in the current and the target, so we can interpolate between the two. So it's just the most basically everything we're saying. Like before, it was working, but it was too snappy. So we're just like all those spring interpolations just kept smoothing out the process, and that's what we're missing. A lot of this stuff, like whether or not to trace it, all that stuff it's just very much for debug purposes. But I don't know. I'm having a problem showing up all my these lines in the actual runtime. But yeah, you'll see. I realize you're probably a bit behind. So as I'm explaining it, you probably have to wait for it to catch up. And then this.
The interpolation working time-wise in the control rig blueprint? Like, do you get the variable that is like time or?
No, so you literally don't. So here, it's literally, so this is what you have. You have this, the current and then the target, and so these are the two values you want to interpolate between, and then these are what you play around with. So I think this was sort of this is you're gonna be your time sort of thing. So I think stiffness is how again how stiff you want it to be. Again, because this it kind of gets rid of all that because these are all relating to like moving bones and joints. So rather than a time, it relates to how smooth the motion of the movement should be. So these do something to basically determine how slow and fast things go, but they kind of use these variables to determine the time.
So it's like physics based, no?
Yeah, rather than time based. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then this full body IK again, is pretty much the exact same we had before. Nothing really different here. Pelvis control, we set that to we basically set the bones to the controls that we've done. And then we do IK on it. And this time the effectors, however, this time are the foot and also the chest, which is the spine bit here. And we set the chest control again, where is it? Here. So we set his chest control to the location of the spine. So it helps. That is actually quite. I didn't think that would be something necessary. So I was like, oh, in full body IK, we just really need the legs to pull it around. But I think the chest acts as this thing they refer to as like a stabilizer. So before they were one person used the head as to the stabilizer. So it's like the leg won't just pull the entire frame. Like the position of the chest, it will also determine like how much things are pulled. So I think it's just kind of, yeah, they call it stabilizers. And it kind of makes sense. So I guess if this leg moves out, the position of the chest should also be factored into the movement of the whole body and the frame. And then in the settings, this is another thing that was quite interesting. I changed these values because so before this was all free, but I changed it because I don't want to but yeah, I'll explain it now. So the pelvis here, the real ones of interest are the rotation and position stiffness. That's basically how much can it rotate and move from its set position. This one is like it just can't move, so the pelvis is going to stay where it's going to be in the pose. But then we have the calf and the two calves. So I locked them in the X and Y because I don't want them really rotating. So like if its foot's over there, I want the calf to either move forward or backwards. Like I don't want him to be looking straight and have his leg like step to the side, if that makes sense, because it'll look like a weird.
Leg, right?
Yeah,
Like spread, yeah.
yeah. So imagine like the thing is out here. I don't want his leg to go like that, so I don't want the calf to, or to it for it. Although it can in real life, it would make sense. It's a weird pose, and in a game, I feel like it would look weird. Like I left it, and then there was a couple times where, like the calf would rotate in order to get the foot there. And I was like, I'd rather it just move forward and like the calf can go forward or up or down rather than twist left or right. And then if it wants to get to that point, we'll rotate the foot itself, or like we'll shift the the thigh bone or something instead. So the calf is really just staying straight in that area rather than doing a lot of twisting. Although I mean we could have it twist, but I think it'd be worthwhile to limit how much it twists so we don't have the foot going to any weird location. But for now, because he's mainly just moving angularly, like we don't have any like shuffle sideways or stuff like that. I've left it just as locked in them, and then limited the Z value to like 130 so that it can't. There's no backwards bending, or he can't like reach something crazy behind him or anything like that, or above him. So, and then we use preferred angles of 45 degrees, and basically, so I didn't realize what this was at first, but basically what it is like if say the new effector location from the trace is down here and the pose wants to bring up here. If the location where we pull to the effector is like requires the calf to move like beyond 45 degrees. So say it's like back here or something, or up here, the calf will just like automatically rotate to 45 degrees and then work from there. If that makes sense. So it's like if you're moving beyond a certain point, it will rotate automatically to 45 and then go from there and then then adjust. So I think it just basically helps it out. It's not like an overriding thing, but the way they were explaining it was like this preferred angle just helps the IK solver like pull to the location easier. So it's like if it starts to go further back, just rotate the calf 45 degrees and then go from there. Other than that, yeah. I didn't play around with these yet. I don't know what they do. But yeah, let's I'll run it and you can have a look. So first thing, just like the walking. Can you hear me without my voice being all laggy, by the way?
Yes, no, I can hear you. I think I was trying to. I was waiting for the video to catch up to understand which part of the voice was going.
Yeah, oh sorry.
Yeah, we have for the viewers, we have like me and David are talking on Discord, and I'm hearing his voice like 30 seconds before the actual video. So I was always delayed to get right to get.
Yeah. I was pretty see after as well. Rescue, how are you, man? I got already see you later, man. Right, cold day, how are you, man? Just catch up what we're doing today. Just a short one really. We're just testing out the IK that we've been working on. So like the general movement and like walking is now fluid. We don't have any of that weird leg twitching back or anything like that. And the legs are always rotated properly, so it actually looks really smooth. And then if we walk up to like this, the last thing I really want to tweak is that, and I think that might be an interpolation thing there. I don't know if you'll see it when it gets there. As I cross between the spheres, the back foot sort of like flags out as it would in real life, and that's the spring interpolation from the new normal. Sorry about the directional light. It sucked.
Oh yeah, that was much better. So I'm seeing again
Yeah,
some
yeah,
10, 20 seconds later, but yeah, the one they're seeing it works a lot better.
yeah. It's so much smoother now. So much smoother, and the foot rotation isn't like buggy anymore. It actually like rotates nicely.
Yeah, I think that's a keeper, right? There is only one. Yeah, see the thing is, even if there are a couple of movements in which they're a bit suspicious, like 95% of them are fine. So I guess it when you start tweaking, it's really hard to just fix that 5% that you want to fix and not screwing up the other 95%, right?
Yeah, see, yeah, that's again like that's one of the things I've been trying to make sure I ignore the terrible quality. My PC struggling to stream at the same time, but that's one of the things I'm trying to make sure avoid breaking because it's obviously one of the, I mean, one thing I need to fix is like I don't know if you noticed. I try and find the example where it happens. Um, the feet just behave a little bit weird, like in terms of yeah, they just behave slightly weird when we're rotating to them like the top it's the ball of the like foot yeah like there it's like flicking right up um and that's the one thing that's quite annoying me so I think there's
Yeah, that one.
so there's something to do with the rotation yeah there again it's you see as it goes up going down it works really well yeah like going downhill it works really well it's just going uphill especially a slope it's like which and I mean I think there needs to be almost to like factor in the fact that you're going uphill to like lift your leg more rather than twist your foot, if that makes sense. So it's like, yeah, because we're not lifting our leg as much, and because of that, we have to twist our foot more in order to like flat, like make the leg flat, and because of that, it becomes a bit less natural. Um, so I don't know if it's like if we are going uphill, like if there's a positive shift in the pelvis offset then it might be a case of having to I don't know, even negative. I'm not too sure. I have to experiment of like maybe pulling it up a little bit more just to cause that knee to pull up more, and so the feet don't look as weird. But again, that's something to experiment with. But I really like the going down and the way the foot flags feels really nice. Let me go to the stairs. Let me I'll make the stairs a bit longer because I'll tell you one thing as well. I'll give Unreal and the people at Unreal their credit. They do it all the time as well. They're so clever with how they like present their demos and do the games and everything. Because like they'll just show you the best case scenario and that's the only thing they'll ever show you. So like when I was watching the Echo demo with the little girl, I was like, why is everything done on like so they had slopes, like flat slopes and then these kind of sphere stuff. So something like this, they had stuff like that, and it looked really good. I was like, oh damn, that IK looks really good. But the first thing I was like, she never runs in any of it, and so they never use like sprint, and they also never go on any staircases. And so I was like, why? So when I came to do it, I realized it's because yeah, their sprint kind of bugs things out. But I think again, it's because of the animation. Ours actually looks quite good, but there's something there that I have to sort out as well, and I think that's with the spring interpolation. It's like there's also collisions going on where the foot goes through the. I'm trying to show you there where it goes through the step, so we need to sort that out. But the going downstairs feels really good. Like it looks like he actually takes a step down. Like that feels really nice. And if we run up there. It just feels better in general, to be honest. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, sorry, as I was watching, they're going down. Yeah, if they're going down, it's if they're running up with building up the steps is actually interesting enough. The running up is
It's better than the walking up. Yeah.
than the running down, and the going up down like normal speed, walking speed.
It's all just a lot, but in general, compared to what it was, this collie is awful. It's a lot smoother, just in general. Like,
So I think like when you're going like uphill, maybe we should move like up and down. We should move the pelvis. We should tilt the pelvis because it goes up like it's completely straight. And usually, maybe you go up straight when you go up the stairs in your house, but usually you wanna lean forward, right?
yeah.
And when you go down, you're gonna lean a little bit backward. But
Yes.
otherwise it's like silly.
Which is interesting because that's the one thing that Power AK Solver had that this one didn't, is that it had that lean. You know what I mean? It had that. I'm trying to think as well, like how exactly we can counter that in. There should actually be a lean forward if you're climbing up. It would make sense to.
But isn't that just connecting another effector to the full body AK solver? Like
We can connect the head. We could connect the head and have that as, but I'm trying to think if the head, when we move the head, it impacts that thing. Let me see.
But how would you do that with the solver? Like how do you know when you're going up and down the stairs? I mean, it's something that we can, because we don't want that to happen when you walk normally, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, when you're walking normally, you shouldn't do it. I'm thinking as well, like I'm looking at it. It's almost like when you're going downstairs, you should almost lean back a bit as well. Like it should almost be
you should lean a little bit backward.
it should almost be the opposite effect. Yeah, running looks better because he's on the balls of his feet 100%. Yeah. Yeah, there's no knee lift to going upstairs. See there's the slide, but it's almost like it's the slide bit. So it's like that, like there. That looks really good. They're going down that bit. You'll see in a sec. Let's have a look quick.
Yeah, I think also Cole there said something interesting. Like maybe we need to raise the knee more when you go up the stairs. Because
Upstairs,
when
yeah.
you go up the stairs, it feels like he's basically dragging his feet through the step and not over it.
Over it, yeah. That is the thing, yeah.
I think that's a good point.
There does need to be more knee lift. Let's see here. So first we need to determine really when we're going up or down. So here we set the pelvis upside Z. I wish it was like a debug so we could print these values, but I don't think we can.
Maybe we can use all of those like lines and squares and circles, like to go through really
Yeah,
things.
I've got them all set up. So this again, I don't know if this is a setting I've done wrong. So basically, whenever I play, if I actually activate them. So if I go a.anim node, it should be control rig.debug space 1. Nothing shows up.
What's draw? Okay, have it now.
So hit 1. So it should show the deep draw, but nothing shows up. I have loads of draw transforms and all that on. So I was like, you think all these lines here would be visible, but nothing shows. I don't know what it is. It's the same with anything really. It's like nothing in the. Did we turn up the like command controls or something somewhere?
Try to set um wireframe, and sometimes there are a little bit occluded by yeah, but I saw there was a guy that he was actually debugging the IK in the actual.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so he did that command. So I've been trying to while I was doing this. I was like, well, let me see. I tried to do it yesterday so I could see where the all the surface normals were. But yeah, so like with I've got loads of I've literally got all the debug stuff set up, but it just doesn't want to come up.
Yeah, I noticed that. I had that problem as well.
Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll search.
How does the control rig works? Like, do we have like, is there a set of generic function that just like govern how the effectors and the bones react with each other, or does it have functions like going up the stairs function or something like that?
No, it's just like the functions they have are like functions that you'd use in order to like process like values and stuff like that, rather than like going up, like rather than it being like, oh, he's going upstairs. You just say like, because this is called every frame. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, because if we were to have like going upstairs, we'd have to in the anim graph. So if we look in here, yeah, because we call this all the time. And then here we just have like the forward soul, and then we just do split it up into sequences. So this is always done. So we can branch and whatnot and do it if values a certain way and pass values into here. So we can do, we can basically just decide when we do certain aspects and certain elements and certain functions. So yeah, we could do like, if he's going up the stairs, have a point at which, or say like the pelvic offset is greater than a certain point or something, so he's going up something. Have like add to the knee lift or something. Should I say?
Yeah, and like, isn't that maybe depending on like, shouldn't we have animation that is going up the stairs animation, which is
Yeah, because I
average going up, and then we will move the control rig just to fix that, just to make that going upstairs animation more accurate.
precise. Yeah,
Because the IK is just a tool to slightly tweak your
tweak.
animation.
Yeah,
If you don't have a going up animation, it will never gonna look
it would
good.
never look good. Yeah, so I think this was the main thing that they were saying in that thing, wasn't it? It was like this isn't the animation as well. This is additive to it. So it's like, this should not define your animation. So it's like, if we want a precise going upstairs animation, we won't get it from IK alone. Like, we have to actually have a state in which he's going upstairs, or put it into, the motion matching and whatnot. And then we use IK to get the foot placement right, and whatnot. I just get it to be precise, like you said, because like we won't no matter what we do, like it can work for going up slopes and things like that, because you're technically still just walking, but you're just changing the angle of how you're walking and stuff. But for stuff like staircases, like moving between like areas and whatnot, it won't look to the level that we're suggesting of it being like, oh, he looks like he's going up the staircase. Because again, I don't because here I'm thinking, because I was like, oh well, we can change the offset of where we need to move the effectors, but that will make the actual solver wrong, because the problem is, like, we pull the joints. The IK is what pulls the knee joints and everything. Is this IK values, whereas yeah, I don't think moving the pelvis up and down, that would actually make it wrong for all the other bones. So it's almost, I don't know. Do we add another effector? Or like,
Yeah, I don't know. They're not gonna be like when you're going up and down the slope. I'm wondering, right? Like, let's take the case that you need to lean forward or backward, right?
hmm,
Surely that is not something that you do with the animation. That is a tweak that the IK will do for you, right? That's maybe the perfect case scenario, right?
like,
Leaning a little bit for the full body IK, I mean, because we're not relying only on the 2 or 3 bone chain. Now we're doing a full body. So isn't that the perfect case for the full body IK to?
I'm gonna add, let's add the header. Add the head as an effector then, because that is, if it's something is gonna make it lean forward or backwards, it's probably gonna be oh yeah, we don't set a transfer control, so we do need a new control, so that's fine. Let's do that. Just control, so offset control.
So what does it mean adding an effector in the control rig?
So basically, in the IK, so I'm adding a control, which is basically like what we use to transform the head bone. But in the IK, adding an effector is basically like a new bone that we consider the target location of when we take into account when we're applying the IK to the body. So like here, when we apply IK now, we're gonna take into consideration the foot, right foot, left foot, spine, and now head. So before, we took into account the right foot, the left foot, and the spine, and we basically said, oh, like we can't, like, with the spine we keep the same, like, so the spine stays the same, but we still want to consider it in the full body IK, so that it stabilizes the body, so that if my left foot is staying and my right foot going, my whole body doesn't just shift right and it's like, it looks weird. Instead, my spine will like still be part of it, and its static location is taken into account, so like less of the body will move towards the right foot, if that makes sense. So it's like this, you don't basically just do a split when you want to step right. Instead, you just like kind of, it's more realistic. I could like explain, like, I'm doing the actions in real life, but you can't see my body, so it's I need to get webcam, yeah, and stand up and show you guys.
You need to steal the webcam again from.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna get a new one, to be fair, anyway. But so yeah, so by adding this head effector, we basically are making the head like considered when we calculate the full body IK. So now the position of the head will also determine how we pull the body and move the body and things like that. So if the head is forward in the pose, we'll get that lean forward, is what I'm presuming. So
If the head is for some reason backward, it will lean backward, right?
as well. And so this is another thing that's interesting. So you see here where we have the offset alpha. This will determine how much how much influence it has. So the spine is at offset alpha of 0. So it doesn't influence like the look. So the spine doesn't pull the body anyway. like so it's not pulled. All it acts as when it's at 0 is a stabilizer to be like, oh, we know this effector exists, so now we're gonna pull based on these other 2 points that are being like, rather than only pulling from the bottom leg, we're also pulling from the chest as well. So it becomes more of like a balanced and more stabilized movement. But I think if we had the head and then we tweak how much strength it has and how much we actually want to like pull the body towards it, that might get a lean. So, but let's just try, I guess. um, so first of all, we need to set this head control because that just does not look right. Um, why is the head down there? Why is the head there? So why is the head down there?
But then you got
Oh, it's
inside.
because I guess because of this.
At least my 10 seconds delayed. I don't, do you know how much exactly is the delay?
I don't know, but I know it's too much. It's far too much. Okay, there we go. He's no longer a broken body. That's what it was. Um, yes, because we're doing so again. So I'll show you. Actually, we'll give an example. So here, the head is an effector that we can pull. So if we get rid of it, because of we're using just the pelvis here and effectors. Like you'll see here, like this is what like the head gets pulled down because it's an effector. Um,
Oh, the head went back for me now.
yeah, because like basically what I think this really is a better explanation is like these are the bones, these bones here. These are the bones that we want to pull. If that makes sense. These are the bones we want to pull when we and like the locations of where we want to pull them to. So we're gonna pull the left foot in this IK. We're gonna pull the left foot. We're gonna pull the right foot. We're gonna pull the spine, and we're gonna pull the head. So then when we look at the offset strength and alpha, this is like the location of where we want to pull them to. How much of an influence does this have? Well, okay, so we want to pull the body, and we'll pull these bones to the foot location with the strength of 1 and the left foot 1. So basically, we're going to pull it to where the position is. However, wherever the spine is, we're not going to take that into account when we pull it. Here, the head as well. The location we don't actually give a transform for. So we're going to pull the head, but we don't. It doesn't have any position when we pull it, so we just pull it to this point there. And because the spine has influence in the pull, that's why the head isn't at the feet and it's instead in between. Does that make sense? It's like dead in between. So that
You can pull the head, like, can you pull the head? Like, how do you decide which direction and how to pull the head? Is it like if the head that's pulling the feet and not vice versa, or
No, the feet is what's pulling the head. So that we when we added this bone, we said the head can be pulled, and then we do this control when we set the transform of the control. We propagate to children. So any in the hierarchy are affected by it. Um,
but the head is another part from the hierarchy, which is it goes back to the pelvis and it doesn't get through, right?
Yeah, but the this bone here, this head bone, this will get pulled within this full body IK. So the only ones that are gonna get pulled from this full body IK are the obviously the whole body will, because it's like a singular thing, but the foot, left foot, right foot, spine, and head, those are the bones we pull, and these transforms are the locations in which affect the pull. If that makes sense. So like if I got rid of the head here, like there was a bone here, this wouldn't even be pulled. The head wouldn't go anywhere, even if I didn't have this transform. And if I get rid of this transform, the location of the head doesn't mean anything in the doesn't have a like, because we have no value. The head, it just gets pulled to where these other ones pull it to, because it has no location that we want to pull the head to. So if I add it back and we say, okay, we want to pull the head this way, this now when we pull all the bones will have an influence. I think, pretty sure. I don't know. I kind of want to change these offset and strength values, but I'm curious to see how this behaves.
Yeah, let's say.
Oh God. Ugh. Okay, that's what. Let's do it. So you see how it's like super. The head is like super strict now, like even more so. It's because like we don't obviously set the location to it, so it's not pulled. And then as we come off of it, oh, even now, so the head is normal, and this is how it will sit. So when we're going up the stairs, yo, that doesn't even look right. It looks even weirder because we're pulling the head to the like wherever the pose location is, but we're pulling the rest of the body down. So even now it looks a bit funky. So if we just, I don't know, let's see. If I make this 0, this should have no influence at all.
Empty with empty wash.
Oh yeah, it's a funky looking head. Okay, so now the head behaves normally.
I mean, I don't know which one you're looking at, but it doesn't look terrible. I'm not sure I'm looking at the right thing.
It looks so weird. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me looking at it now, but it looks really weird with the head taken into account.
But how can you bend like
The
the
body.
doors a little bit forward?
Mm, I was thinking, do we? I think it might be a case of. What I might
Because
do.
I don't know, it looks like the last thing that I'm seeing is his neck is like he's stretching his neck like
Yeah. What if? What if we take this head control?
yeah, okay, the neck was way too forward, right? It didn't really propagate down. That is the thing. Like you only move the head without actually propagating all the changes down to the pelvis, basically.
I'm thinking. So if we just like offset this, so we set the transformer control head control there. If we then offset this transform, sorry, caps, and we do the which one? What do I offset when I do my thing? The IK bone. Again, we'd need.
I think
No.
the stream is 720p, I guess, it's because otherwise David computer won't work.
No, I think the stream's in 1080 at the moment.
Oh, it's 1080 the stream.
Yeah, yeah.
I
My
can only
computer,
see, yeah, I can only see 720 on mine.
my thing's dying anyway.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think Streamlabs has got different idea. Are you using Streamlabs?
Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs. So I mean, so if I now say, okay, let's pull this forward in the forward direction, 10. Let's offset this transformer, whatever the head transform is, 10. So now the head control is there. Oh, I keep thinking I'm in. Now we actually give this impact. You see? Do you see how the whole body like was pulled forward? Was it? No. Why is the head?
That will be 25 seconds.
Oh, it's the whole body wasn't even pulled. It's just the head now looks crazy. Okay, let's try this again. Well, let's change these values and see how they behave. So let's go 50. Okay, so there's the lean. There's the lean here. It's because we have this lean.
I'm gonna try to measure the lag. Can you see if one second? Let me get the stopwatch. Can you do something that uh I can yeah, can you set a value on the
Well, I'll open and then close the Streamlabs so you can see how quickly it does it. All right, 3, 2, 1. That minimize. There you go. So you see when it opens, it closes that in the stream. If we set this to 1. Okay, 0. No.
oh my god, it's already 25 seconds. Jesus. Okay, it is exactly 30 seconds.
Jeez,
The
that's
lag.
massive. So
Gonna answer 1 second the questions. The other games that, yeah, I think Unreal Engine 5 is not, there is really no shit games yet that they use Unreal Engine 5. And so far, what I'm seeing is that all the tech demos, it's not really easy to understand because, as we said before, they only do the special case. I mean, the perfect case is fine. They don't really show where, when it doesn't work. So it's not easy to have any reference. But I'm 99% sure that we will just have to grab some going up the stairs motion capture animation. And yeah, to be honest, we can quickly grab one from Max's fight going up the stairs, and that will be it. Right? I mean, I can go up and down the stairs in my house. You see, probably be overkill. Interesting. Yes, I think it's because I came out from my voice came out from the Discord chat. so from the display audio, and then it comes from a real microphone. I think that's
Okay, it's now I need the head to pull forward, not backwards. It's like when I'm going upstairs.
okay. I'm not sure again what I'm saying, but you're going the other way around. It's almost there. But it's the other way around.
It's like, but the problem here now I'm having is that it's doing it. It's like super slight. It's not. I almost feel like we need more bones, more effectors. Because it's. Oh, let me reopen this rig because his body's just destroyed. Okay, what if strength alpha, we say 2? I think when I get the lean of the actual body, I'm offsetted by the pelvis offset. Let me get rid of that. Let's just say 10. I want to get it so that it has a big influence on the. Oh, okay. Should be 0 1 really, shouldn't. Um, yeah, there's no point in going. You can't really go higher than that. Um, let me think. Um, what if? What if we just added more factors? We translate that based on the pelvic offset as well. So we've added the head. Let's add the other spines. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna all offset everything. So I'm offsetting the head by the pelvic, by how much the pelvis is moved. So it's like if I'm going up loads, we're gonna lean for if I go down loads, we're gonna lean back loads. If I go down a little, we don't have much lean. So the pelvic offset will determine how much we offset the head. We might have to clamp it, maybe, but we'll see, because those values might not be correct. Probably not, because it's a bit extreme. But that works. But what we now need to do is offset the other body parts too by the pelvis. So let's just do that. So let's add the other controls. Let's say that was in response to your question, by the way. Hold on. So there, let's offset this. See, I will say, like, it's worthwhile. This is for anyone else who's gonna do IK. Like, they've got this echo example, but I say it's worthwhile going through it and just making it all. Like, I could have just like obviously copied a lot of stuff in, but I went through and did it myself, because going back, you actually understand what goes where and why you do what you do. For anyone watching this thinking about their own game, because I know there's people watch that. But yeah. Um, dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I really wish you could just play your own music. You understand that? It's almost like there needs to be a draw between setting off. Yeah, where's offset? Yeah, yeah. I'll literally just, if the values of the head and the offset aren't in the right scale, sort of, I'll just clamp the range basically, so it is affected by it still. Yeah, cool. Let's go back down here now. Let's take all this crap. Just move you down. Apart from you, we care about you right now. And then we want a couple of you, we want 2 more of you. Okay. These are all head control, so now we need spine 1 control, spine 2 control, and then we need to do it all by the negated pelvis value. I hate blueprints so much. You cannot tell me that this is like good. This is a good way to program. I just can't tell me. There's physically no way. I don't even know how people do this as well. Like make whole games like this. It can't be possible. Okay, so now we have a human being standing up again. And now this is all based on the pelvic offset, negated, of course. So now let's have a play. Oh, God. Okay. It's a bit of a lean. I mean, I don't know what the middle... There's a bit of a lean there. Am I bugging? No, there's a bit of a lean. Obviously that... I mean, it is leaning forward right now. It still doesn't look very good, though. Oh, it looks absolutely awful, if I'm being totally honest. Um, offset. Ah, this is why. Oh, this makes sense now. This is why we do that. This is why we do this. This is why we do it because it gets it in the correct direction of whichever the pelvis thing is. That's why we do it when we offset. We get it in the right space. Makes sense. So we'd have to do that offset thing here for each one. Oh, that's a lot of. I'm not able to debug anything, which is what's annoying me. So it's like
Yeah, without debugging,
it's just a nightmare.
to work.
Because I'm just like hoping that it does what I want it to do. The background is just a GIF. The stream background is literally just a GIF. It's one of those like kind of AMV music videos, lo-fi music video backgrounds that you have. But I thought it was a cool vibe. Okay, you know what? I might do a bit of research before I have a think about this because I'm very hungry right now. I've not actually eaten today. So yeah. Okay. I'm gonna grab some food and look up a couple things and then yeah, then we'll try this again another time because I'm starving.
Super duper.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I've checked in the working one anyway.
no, that was much nicer anyway.
Yeah.
Not the last bit, but
The stuff before, yeah. Awesome, Dada. And if I don't catch you before tomorrow, then have a nice Christmas.
yeah, you too, guys.
Same goes for everyone else in the stream, guys. Merry Christmas to all of you.